Hello everyone. So I am back again with Benny, my Dickadol Shell, to actually answer the scenario prompt again. All day I've been thinking about how to respond in regards to him, and I was just like, I'll just go ahead and record it. Even though I've answered it, it feels like I've answered it like a million times, even though I haven't. I feel like I'm overdoing it, but I just love these scenarios, so like answering these scenarios so much, because they're just helping like with random character things that you wouldn't realize they would help with, but they have been. And so I would just like to thank Denali Wynn for starting the scenario prompt. I want to thank Sarah for adding on to them, and I would like to thank Pink Peppermint for adding onto them as well. And I'll be answering hers for the first time with him, so it's going to be awesome. Anyway, I will start with Denali Wynn's prompts and scenarios. And her first scenario was your character is at work and their hair keeps getting in their face. What do they do? Well, if you didn't know, my boy Benny here is actually an assassin. He also has another job at his mother's tea house, and he also goes to high school in the morning. So by night assassin, by day school and tea house employee. So now, if he was at his job at being an assassin, unfortunately, if hair was getting in his face, he wouldn't be able to do anything about it. The reason why is he would want to stay extremely focused on the situation, and he definitely just would will himself to ignore it, simply because any time wasted in trying to fix the situation in a way where it wasn't keep coming into his face, any way to permanently fix that could lose him valuable seconds, and he needs every single second. And he needs to constantly be aware of everything. So if he was, as during his assassin times, he would definitely just ignore it and keep focused on what he is doing 100%. But if he was at school or at the tea house, it would be really simple. He would do actually what I do with his wig and doll form, and just put a hairband on and go with it. He actually, though he's from England, he lives in Japan right now, and honestly, with the fashion he's surrounded by, headband is no big thing. So he would do that at school and at the tea house, and the ladies at the tea house would just love it. So that's what he would do for that. And then next one, if you're from Denali Witness, if your character drops a sandwich on the ground, what would they do? In his case, he would definitely not eat it. That meal would be done for him. Unfortunately, he has to have his food a very certain way. He actually has some very deep OCD tendencies, and his food definitely has to be very specific. And he would just definitely not eat that. He would more than likely just throw it away. He wouldn't really think of anything to do with it beyond that, because in his opinion, because it fell on the ground, it was like too gross for anyone. So he would just throw it away. He would just be done with it, and more than likely he would probably just go buy something else, because the school is by other places, or he would get something from a friend, maybe, as long as it didn't look disgusting to him. So yeah, that's what he would do in that scenario. Then next is Sarah's. If he was driving a car and he hit a dog, what would he do? Well, silly me, I actually didn't look up if a mobile vet could come to someone in Japan. So I'm not sure on that part of this area, but I know what he would primarily do. he would definitely pull over, get out, and inspect a dog. He actually has what I'm calling medical training, but it's not really medical training. It's basically like survival training. Like if you ever if you watch Supernatural at all, how like they know how to take care of, like, if they're shot or if they're cut or anything like that. He knows basics. I like how I'm calling it basics, but this doesn't like happen to people every day. But he knows that kind of training for if anything happens to him on the job, or if something happens to someone by accident and it's his fault, he can take care of it. Take care of it enough to get himself home, or take care of enough for that person to get to medical attention, whatever. He is able to handle simple things. So, and he's also able to assess how bad a situation is. He learned that from his mom. And he would definitely assess the dog, see what can be done. If he feels the dog can be moved, he would definitely move it and take it to, wherever he could to get the dog taken care of. And he would definitely pay for the service. He wouldn't do anything beyond that, though. He actually cannot handle pets at the moment. With his mom being sick and just with all his duties, the only pet he has is that cat that lives at the tea house, and that's all they can handle. So that's what he would do. Now, of course, if he could call a service to it, he would definitely do that as well. But otherwise, he would handle the situation pretty well. He's seen worse. He's done worse. So whatever happened to that dog, because of his car, he wouldn't freak out. He would handle the situation very, I want to say, stoically. So, yeah. Now, these next scenarios are added by Pink Peppermint. And I actually adore these. Of course, I adore all of them, but I adore these as well as much as the other ones. I'm very glad to have more to answer. The first one is, now for some of these, I tried to type them down exactly, but they're not not absolutely exact. So I'm sorry if they don't sound as nicely as she put them. And I'll definitely link below so you guys can answer these too. But first one is, what would your character do if they were given $3,000 and 24 hours to spend it? And that answer is super easy. He would go shopping for clothes. He is a clothes whore. He loves clothes. He loves fashion. He would just go crazy. And I know this sounds selfish, but to be perfectly honest, he actually is. He's not really a selfish person, but he just wouldn't think of anything else to do with it. Like, if you give him money, he's buying clothes. Because to be honest, they get paid, but they actually get paid well for the jobs that he does. But at the same time, if you give him a spare $3,000 that is not being used for his mom's medical bills, he will buy himself clothes because he just adores fashion. He does. Next one. Now the next scenario is, if a close friend was expecting to get a promotion or reward, it depends, work or school, and they're expecting to get it, but instead your character is approached to get it, how would your character feel about that? Now, in this case, there's actually no promotion system at the tea house, or of course during his assassin jobs. But at school, he actually is a very smart guy. And I actually would call him brilliant. He's just hyper intelligent. He's taking very advanced classes, and he has friends in these classes, and it does get competitive. It just does. And so if his friend was expecting a reward of some sort for work done in class, and he got it instead, he definitely wouldn't gloat, but he definitely would feel proud as he's amongst other intelligent people. He would feel super proud out of all these people, to have been chosen for this award. But he definitely wouldn't gloat, and he would definitely not he would definitely, yeah, he would apologize. I don't think that's the exact word I'm looking for, but he would definitely go, oh, I'm sorry, it was a close call, that sort of thing. He'd be very consoling. There we go. I think that's the word I'm looking for. But he would definitely feel proud. He would feel so, so proud. And then the last one is, your character, they have an office hookup. It could be simply a love, flirting, a kiss, or way beyond that with the crush. And the crush gives them the impression that it was more than a one-time thing, a one-night thing, you know. But the next day, the crush seems to be pursuing someone else, and it looks like the other person is interested. How does your character react? Well, this actually happens to him a lot, but in a different way. His character is actually gay, and he he sometimes is kind of starved for affection, and he doesn't mean to be. It's just there's a lot of stuff going on at home, and it actually is getting to him being an assassin, though he refuses to admit that because his mom needs his help. By the way, she used to be the actual like assassin, but she's sick and can't do it anymore, but it still needs to be done for very specific reasons. And he actually volunteered himself to do it, to learn how to do it, and then carry it out for her. But it really like drags down on him. He doesn't really like doing it, and he gets very sad a lot just about everything, and he really wishes he, like, with friends, he feels like, yeah, they're close, but he wants something beyond that, and he is very starved for that sort of love, and especially since all his other friends are hooking up easily left and right, but he's finding it harder to find someone interested in him that he is also interested in, and if anyone happens to show him any bit of affection, um, be it, you know, just your basic affection or way more, and then the next day seem to be completely interested in someone else who they wanted, who was, you know, reciprocating, he would be so heartbroken. And I, that's really the only thing I could say for it. He would just be deeply heartbroken, very hurt, and he would just feel so horrible, and he'd feel embarrassed, definitely, for how he had felt about it, because since he's so starved for want of that, um, because of that, he probably like he accidentally, I want to say, got super attached to the possibility of something happening, and then just knowing that it's not, just suddenly knowing that there's no chance, just would just break his heart. He of course wouldn't, you know, necessarily give up, I want to say, but it would just be a heartbreaker for him, and the poor thing would take it very, very, very tough. Um, this actually has happened to him a lot, unfortunately, and he actually, at the start of my story, he has never had anything steady. He's never had a steady boyfriend. He hasn't had a date at all. It's just very difficult for him. And yeah, it just is. So, oh boy. So anyway, those are my answers for Pink Peppermint's scenarios. In fact, for everyone's scenarios, and that is all I could think of. I wish I could think of a scenario myself, but I can't seem to. So I will leave it at that, and I hope you enjoyed hearing about Benny, and hopefully I will be able to answer Pink Peppermint's scenarios with Haru and with Sparrow and Loki, but I do have to think of answers for them. I haven't been able to think of them yet, so I will leave it here for now. Thank you so much if you watched, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.